Hey everybody, Kyle here from GoatFilmReviews.com and Kyle and Nick on Film on YouTube. And this is the Goat Film Review Show, show where we chit-chat about some movie talk, basically just get my thoughts on the current state of movie news out to you. Let's have fun doing it too. And guys, it's going to be kind of a different show this week. My hair is kind of a mess, and not going to lie, it's been a really difficult week here in the Twin Cities in Minnesota. I'm sure you guys have kept up with the news, and I haven't had time to really prep a lot of notes or do anything like that, but I still wanted to get a chance to do an episode with you. So if you guys are looking for more of the traditional Goat Film Review stuff we've done the last couple episodes, please check out one of those episodes. Forgive me, but I still wanted to do something this week because I know we had some technical difficulties 2 weeks ago, and I don't want to keep missing time with my folks out here. So we're going to kind of cover some ideas or some thoughts and some news pieces and just kind of run down the news together a little bit. No major stories, nothing like that. We're just going to chit-chat, probably about a shorter episode today, and then we'll talk some of the movies I've been watching recently as well. So let's get started here, I guess. First news out of Variety. Late yesterday, Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is on the way. I didn't see Sonic the Hedgehog, the first one. I wasn't too interested in it. I mean, I like the Sonic character, but I've never really been big on the games. I've never really been big on the cartoon, the animated series that was going on for a while. I didn't think the trailers were all that good, but I heard relatively good things, kind of like people comparing it to... It's weird to compare it to Venom, but comparing it to Venom in the sense that it felt like a 90s movie more, which is fine. That's what you need to have sometimes. But I like the idea of... was it James Marsden? James Marsden, Ben Schwartz voicing Sonic, Jim Carrey as Dr. Robotnik. It all kind of makes sense to me, and the movie made enough money where it makes me feel good that they're developing a second film. I still want to see Detective Pikachu 2, though. Where's that? Where's my Detective Pikachu 2? Don't you act like Sonic was better. It's not. We'll get past it, though. We're going to work through it together. Still want my Detective Pikachu 2, or something else in the Pokemon world. But it makes sense that Sonic the Hedgehog is getting a sequel, which, honestly, love it or hate the movie, it did get some pretty good reviews, actually. Not stellar, but it's a video game movie that is moving in the right direction. I think that we will soon have some truly tremendous video game adaptations into film that I think are going to change the landscape for that. Maybe we'll be looking at a lot different world when it comes to video game adaptations in a few years. This is probably the most mind-boggling news that happened a couple days ago. Variety was reporting that Henry Cavill is in talks to return to the DCEU. Now, of course, Henry Cavill has said multiple times that he's interested in returning. He's still, I think he said, I have the cape hung up still, I think was kind of his joke line that he kept going with, which I respect. I think if I were in his case, I'd want to keep coming back as well. But on the table, there's not been a Man of Steel 2 discussed for some time. They said there's currently no plans for it. From what I've been hearing, and pretty vocal out there, is that he'd be returning, but maybe not in a new Superman film, but as a supporting player maybe, or maybe they're looking at Justice League 2. Not really sure what the current status is of where the character is going to go. I think it's right to put him in Shazam 2. I think it's right to put him maybe in Black Adam in some form. Maybe the Suicide Squad, maybe the Batman. Just get him out there more. But you got to get a second Man of Steel. And this comes from a guy that I liked Man of Steel. I did not love it. I still think it's one of the weaker DC films. But I like Henry Cavill. I really want my Superman to feel to be less. I want my Superman to be more of that Captain America feeling, where he may be doubtful of his place in the world, but I like him being a symbol of hope, and I just never felt that hope from him in any of the Zack Snyder films that he appeared in. It's not a knock on him at all. I just think, Batman v Superman was a bit of a dour film. Justice League, we just didn't get a whole lot of Batman or Superman to really continue growing the character. But I want to see him go somewhere with this character and do some more things, because I think it's a crime that we have waited 7 years and still no news on a Man of Steel 2. Killers of the Flower Moon, Martin Scorsese's next film is set up now between Apple and I believe Paramount. So that'll be a dual production. I believe it's going to go to theaters still through Paramount, and then it will end up on Apple Plus afterwards. The movie, I think it's in talks for $180 to $200 million. I don't know why Scorsese needs that kind of money. you're setting yourself up for failure. But if he can get it on a streamer, then I guess he can make that money back anyway. So it is what it is. Like I was a fan of The Irishman. I didn't think it was Scorsese's best film. I don't think it's his worst one either. But overall, like I want him to succeed. I want him to keep making movies, and I'd like to go see them in the theater and maybe get a home video release. I'm still big on physical media, so I'd love to get a chance to do that. But Killers of the Flower Moon, I'm happy his new project is set up somewhere. Scorsese's getting up there in years, and I just want him to keep churning out as much good content and as many great films as he can. And the more times I've watched The Irishman, the more times I've really taken to it. I can't wait to see it again. I'm hoping to get the Criterion set for it when it comes out. But Killers of the Flower Moon, based on the David Grand nonfiction book set in 1920s Oklahoma, Bureau of Investigation, a string of murders. Just kind of like it feels like something different from a Scorsese film, which is I think really good because you can get some criticism out of The Irishman for being maybe a little bit too close to his other work. So very excited about that. Really interested in seeing kind of where that goes, I guess. Let's see what else we got here. So, how are you guys doing? You guys doing okay? You guys staying safe? You being happy and stuff with your life? It's good to have. Let's see here. I don't know. There's not a whole lot of other big news coming out. I mean, there's stuff definitely out there in the world of film, but yeah, I just HBO Max launched. I haven't gotten it yet, to be honest. I want to try it out at some point, but if for some of you guys that know me, I've quit my streaming services for a little while. I'm trying to afford a house, and it's something small where like, yeah, a couple bucks doesn't matter. A couple bucks can matter if you're really trying to move in one direction with your life. Like a couple dollars a month can make a difference, and I think there was a point in my life where I was living paycheck to paycheck. That's thankfully not the case anymore, but like every little bit does count when you're trying to save up for a house, and the current state of the nation has made house hunting very difficult. So I quit my streamers. Another reason why I quit all my streaming services is because I have hundreds of movies that I own that I've never seen, and I don't even know where they all came from. But I just wanted to take the opportunity to catch up on all the movies I wanted to watch and catch up on the TV shows that I've gotten as gifts or Black Friday purchases, and they're just waiting for me to rip through some shows. And I got a bunch of video games too that like barely touch, so I really want to go through those, and that's why I haven't really gotten any of their streaming services. Like I said, I got Quibi, still got Quibi, which is unfortunate for me because it's fine. But yeah, there you have it. HBO Max is out. It's got more content than Disney Plus. But it's also important to note that they don't have all the films that you'd expect for a Warner Brothers streaming service. I know there's some initial frustration about the DC content, and primarily things from DC Universe, Swamp Thing, the Harley Quinn show, Titans, I believe. None of those are on the app from what I hear. Doom Patrol is available right now. Then you also have things like, I don't think it's available on Roku yet, which sucks for me because I have a Roku. Like, I mean, I'm not going to get it if I can't get it on the Roku. It's one of my big problems with Quibi is that I can't watch it on my TV. And then there's some also stuff with like HDR and 4K where it's not available in all areas in 4K, which is kind of an odd thing to have currently. Like, why wouldn't you put it out in the best possible way? You've had all this time. I don't know. It's not been the greatest release, but could be worse. Could have been a lot worse. And they got people that'll be home a lot more often to watch it and get some content out of it. And with the decision to have Justice League: The Snyder Cut go to HBO Max will help that boom in a year. And I think it's always a slow climb. So I'm curious to see where it goes from there. But and that's really it, guys. There's not a ton of more stories to talk about this week. I mean, I'm sure I'll probably be missing something. But let's talk about a little bit about the films that I've watched this week. I'm just going to pull up my diary on my Letterboxd. You guys want to follow me, you can find me, Kyle Goethe, on Letterboxd. You can follow me there if you guys are interested in what kind of stuff I'm watching. So I got a set of short films of Buster Keaton's from a couple years ago. And I've been like really ripping through. His short films aren't from a couple years ago. They're from the 20s. But just a while ago, I've been waiting to watch all these. So I've been watching a ton of those. I've seen like 10 of them in the past week, which is maybe a little bit silly. But yeah, Buster Keaton. We all see Chaplin as being like the big the grand one when it comes to the silent comedy antics kind of stuff. But really, I think Buster Keaton deserves to be on the same level. He's more seen as still very much a strong player in that time period, but I think he really knocks a lot of these shorts out of the park. There's a few that have not aged well, culturally speaking. I'm just going to give that one off right now. I watched the movie in chapters, The Stranger, which is on Quibi. Basically, Micah Monroe and Dane DeHaan starring in this movie in chapters. Dane DeHaan's character is Carl E., and he's basically decided he's going to stalk this woman named Claire that he gets into a ride share with, and the whole thing just kind of like, this Carl character has a bunch of like special tech powers or something like that. He can hack into phones and screens and stuff like that, and I kind of felt like the first half of it was building and like it was very exciting where it was going, but then you start to realize they're not going to answer any of the questions you have about this guy's strange abilities. And then the last chapter really falls flat. It really misses the bar completely. And any goodwill going into that last chapter is kind of out the door. So The Stranger, not the worst thing I've seen all year, but it definitely wasn't very good. So what else is there? I got to watch King Kong versus Godzilla, moving through my Criterion collection of the Godzilla Showa films. I haven't seen this movie in like 20 years, maybe more than that. And it was fun to revisit it. The only thing that frustrates me is I don't think the Criterion set has the original Japanese release. They only have the dubbed American release, which has extra scenes put into it that just don't do anything to the plot at all. So that was kind of disappointing. But the movie was fun to watch nonetheless. Everybody loves a good Godzilla film. I also watched the original The Invisible Man, the 1933 film with Claude Rains, directed by James Whale, who did Frankenstein and The Bride of Frankenstein. So this was cool because I think most of the effects actually have aged very well, and they look very good. Some of the scare moments kind of seem silly now, because there's a moment where he like pulls the wrap off his head, and he's like, "Woo!" and he like runs around and stuff, and it's a little over the top at times, but definitely a very cool horror film from the 30s that's definitely worth checking out. I also watched this film, Head, which is a fictional movie starring the monkeys. Basically, them just getting as weird and wild as they could possibly get. I know the screenplay was co-written by Jack Nicholson. Head, it's just weird. It's a 90-minute movie with as much oddity as you can possibly muster. Head. And I think, to get a little sour on it, I think the idea of calling it Head, there was rumors that it was called Head because they wanted to make a sequel or follow-up film and then say, from the people that gave you Head. So there you have it. Take with that what you will. I also got to watch an older film from 1943 called The Return of the Vampire. So apparently this was like Columbia Pictures decided to make a pseudo-sequel to Dracula with Bela Lugosi. And Universal Pictures threatened a lawsuit, so they just made the whole film, but they changed all the character names to something else. And to be honest, I'm a huge fan of the Universal monsters. This movie was bad. Things just kind of happen. There's no explanation. There's werewolves all of a sudden that have no real bearing on the plot. I think they tried to make like a werewolf inclusion because the Wolfman had just come out, and it doesn't work at all. You can tell Bela Lugosi's not really involved. The screenplay is really poor. Just a real miss. So I would say stick with your Universal monster films, because I think Dracula's Daughter is stronger. I think Son of Dracula is stronger. And I think the crossover films that they did during that period were much stronger as well. What else did we watch here? Watched The Legend of Tarzan from 2016. That's the one that's got Alexander Skarsgård in it, and was directed by David Yates, who gave us many of the most recent Harry Potter and Fantastic Beasts films. This one, again, it wasn't flat out bad, but it wasn't tremendously good either. It was more fine. It was passable. There was things in it that really worked, and there was things in it that really didn't. And it's more than anything, it's just a little bit forgettable, and runs on a little bit too long. But I feel like it's too bad. I really wanted to see them adapt more of these Tarzan novels from Edgar Rice Burroughs into feature films, because we haven't really had a Tarzan in a while, and I think that's something worth at least trying. Let's see what else we got on there. Watch some Three Stooges stuff. Hey, no, that's pretty much it, guys. Haven't watched a whole lot else other than that. We rewatched a bunch of movies. 1917. I showed my wife Knives Out and some other things like that. So kept pretty busy on that. But overall, that's what I've been watching. Yeah, haha. There you go. So thank you guys for joining me again. If you are interested in supporting the channel, we're gonna get a Patreon set up for Goat Film Reviews down the road. Really do appreciate anybody who's been watching here. If you want to support the channel before we have a Patreon, that's always wonderful as well. If you know you're not going to be able to support with the Patreon because it costs money and money's tight right now, I totally get it. All I ask is, if you want to support us, give us a like. It doesn't take anything. It really doesn't. It's absolutely free. Give us a like. Subscribe for more content. Comment below your thoughts on some of the different stories we've talked about today. And hey, beyond that, you got social media. You can actually share this video on social media, and that'll get the word out there a little bit more and help support the show, which is always appreciated. So thank you guys so much for joining me. My name is Kyle Goth. You can find all my film reviews on goatfilmreviews.com. Over 900 film pieces. You can also check out every single week Kyle and Nick on Film on YouTube as well, like one of the sister sites, I guess you could call it. Check that show out. Every week I do a new episode with Nick Palatichuk. Currently we're still kind of on hiatus with the show because of the whole COVID-19 situation. So instead I'm doing a weekly show called Why I Love Cinema, where I pick a different film that's critically reviled and give it critically reviled or filled the box office, that kind of stuff. This week it was The Frighteners from director Peter Jackson. I'm just really tired today. Didn't sleep well last night. So there you have it, guys. Go ahead and check that kind of stuff out. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Almighty Goatman. Thank you so much for joining us. And until next time, we'll see you at the cinema, and I'll bring the popcorn.